Hi, revolutionary greetings to all of you on May Day. This is the day of international solidarity of the working class, a day which has a very, very long history of decades of working class struggles, a day which symbolizes the victory of the working class in many areas, and this is the day in which we redouble our resolve to change this world into a better world, into a non-exploitative world, and into create a system where there will be an end to a human exploitation. And this struggle, led by the working class, is a struggle that will be joined by all the exploitative sections of our society. And normally in such a day, we would have had mass meetings, public gatherings, demonstrations, very militant activities, demanding from the government immediate issues on which relief will be provided to the people. But unfortunately, in today's conditions of fighting the COVID pandemic, we cannot do such activities. So we have to redouble our resolve within the restrictions that exist today, and that can also be done, and that must be done like we are doing it today. Particularly you all as the members of the Students' Federation of India, youngsters and general students. The future is yours. In world history, in world civilization, there have been many such health emergencies. Many such epidemics have come. Many have threatened and claimed many more lives than what would have been thought as possible. But the human race survived, and they survived, and so will it happen even now. But we need to minimize our losses. So you will have to create for yourselves an India which is better than what it is in the future, and a world which is better than what it is today. So it's on your shoulders of this younger generation, that the future rests. So you will have to think hard on how to shape that future. And in shaping that future, right now the focus and priority is fighting this pandemic. The manner in which the ruling classes are fighting this pandemic. Because one thing is for sure, everybody keeps asking, where did this COVID or new coronavirus come from? I mean, all our coronaviruses, right from a common cold to the SARS, to various other respiratory viruses that have come in the past. But this is a new variety. Often we feel and we think as human beings that once we are born, the evolution has stopped, that we are the end of evolution. No, the same evolutionary process in nature that created the circumstances in which the Homo sapiens could emerge and the human race could emerge, that evolution is continuing. Every day, new and new types of organisms are taking birth, are being formed, and this virus, this COVID or new coronavirus is of a form which is still mutating. That is why it will take some time before we get a vaccine. Till that vaccine comes, we all have to take our precautions. Today, our ruling classes say that we should maintain social distance. No, that is very wrong. I'll tell you why. What we should do is maintain physical distance, because this virus, it's been identified, moves through touch, moves through contact, and avoiding that contact and sanitizing ourselves and keep maintaining hygiene is of vital importance. It is not social distancing, it's physical distancing with social solidarity. And that solidarity is important, and which is what is today a casualty with this government in our country and many governments in the world. And this casualty is something that we'll have to put an end to, because only unitedly can we all together fight and defeat this pandemic. And if we need to do that, we'll have to also ensure that this pandemic will not take the price of taking the exploited sections or the wretched of this earth, the lives of them, and protecting the wealthy. Yes, the virus doesn't distinguish between one human being and another, but capitalism, an exploitative system, distinguishes between human beings on the basis of their capacities, on the basis of their vulnerabilities to fight this sort of a disease or to succumb to it. The exploited are more vulnerable. They have less levels of immunity. They have less nutrition, and because of the levels of hunger and nutrition, they become more prey to become victims of such a disease. So this pandemic has to be fought, in which case we'll have to equip everyone to fight this pandemic, because nobody can be saved if this cannot be fought and eliminated. In that sense, it's essential now that we create conditions of how we properly face this pandemic. And those conditions, unfortunately, have not been created in our country. This pandemic emerged globally, and everybody says China is the origin of it. First case was reported in China, and when they were still grappling, trying to find out what is this, is it the old type of SARS, is it the bird flu, the swine flu, is it Nipah? Then it turned out it's none of those. It's a new variety. It took the World Health Organization and China and the scientists all over the world more than nearly a month to identify this as a new strain, and it was only on the 11th of March, from December to the 11th of March, when the WHO, the World Health Organization, declared it as a COVID pandemic. But in the meanwhile, scientists could find out how this was being communicated. So the origin, where it originated, that is very difficult to say. Like the first case was detected in India, in Kerala. Can we say that Kerala is the origin? On the contrary, the Kerala model of how it's being tackled is universally acknowledged and appreciated, and many are seeking to follow this sort of a model. How this can be contained, how this can be confined to certain areas, which can, through thorough locking down and tracking, etc., be identified and the chain of transmission be broken. But in our country, after even let's take the 30th January, even after 30th January, till the Janta curfew of March 22nd, till then, whatever preparations we had to do were not done. We have not, for instance, they make the preparations for augmenting our health facilities. Countries like Spain, a capitalist country like Spain, has today nationalized all private health facilities in the country. Spain has declared a universal basic income for everybody. And that universal basic income will continue even after this pandemic, they have declared. So many countries were taking measures in order to be prepared for the outbreak, but we unfortunately did not. There were various events that were organized, including Namaste Trump, including the toppling of the government in Madhya Pradesh and the mass swearing in of the new chief minister. You see the situation in Gujarat and in Madhya Pradesh today. States where this is very rapidly spreading. Then you had this Tablighi conference here in Delhi. The organizers were irresponsible in holding such a conference at this time. But then who gave them permission? The same Tablighi conference asked for permission in Maharashtra, which the state government there refused. But here, directly under the Union Home Ministry, it was given. People were allowed to come from Indonesia, Malaysia to attend that congregation, allowed to move around in the country. How were they tested? Were they screened at the airports? We don't know. Or even if they claim they were, then was it a source of one of these spreads? Yes. But in that name, to target any specific community and to try and do a social ostracization of that community and to polarize communally our society is the worst damage we are doing to ourselves. We have to fight this unitedly, And this sort of sharpening of communal polarization in this time is not, we cannot afford that in our fight. Secondly, this is the period when we find a lot of your brothers and sisters who were part of the anti-CAA, NRC, NPR protest actions all over the country. They are being randomly picked up on those charges through a very draconian provisions of the law. And this is not the time when attacks on democratic rights and civil liberties take place in such a manner. Anybody who's critical of the government, an expression of dissent, this situation is being used to suppress that. Now this is something that is not acceptable. Remember, at the times of any and every health emergency, the ruling classes always try to use that to strengthen their hands with draconian laws. You had a plague in the last decades of the earlier century, 19th century in fact, in the 1890s. Two students like you all today, two postgraduate students from Pune University, the Chepekar brothers, they rebelled against the manner in which the British, which was ruling our country then, we were a British colony, the British had herded together hundreds and thousands of the plague victims into camps and virtually condemned them to death. And this sort of the attitude of the British against, in order to prevent the plague spreading, that's what they claimed. But they were killing people. Millions of people lost their lives then, 135, 40 years ago, 140 years ago. And rebelling against that, these Chepekar brothers, both the brothers together went and shot dead the Pune Plague Commissioner, Rand. At that time, a new act was brought, an Epidemic Diseases Act, with draconian provisions. That is what today, in some, the same provisions, draconian provisions, in a different form, is today what is your Disaster Management Act, which has been invoked today. That was the time when Bal Gangadhar Tilak wrote a scathing editorial in his publication against the British. The Sedition Law Act was brought in. The Sedition Act, and he was arrested under that. It was used against our national movement leaders, including Gandhiji himself and many others, for expressing any dissent against the British, opposing the British in writing. The same Sedition Act continues even today, and this Modi government has been using it. And against, against whom? Your students themselves. You had Kanhaiya Kumar, the entire group from JNU, many others from many other universities, who have all been picked up and charged under the Sedition Act. Now the authoritarian tendencies, the communal polarization tendencies, these are tendencies that the ruling classes may want to utilize, including this very, very severe life and death battle for millions of people. Even in these conditions, they would want to do that, and at the same time again, to profit, which is the essence of capitalism. Crores and crores and thousands of crores are being collected in a private trust fund named under the PM. Now you have a Prime Minister's Disaster Relief Fund established in 1948, 2 years before we adopted our constitution. A statutory fund, audited by the CAG, transparent, accountable, but no, money is not going to go there. Money is going into this fund, and it's being forcibly collected, even from employees. जबरदस्ती हमारे मुलाजिमों से उनकी एक दिन का तनख्वाह लिया जा रहा है इस फंड के लिए. कहाँ जा रहा है ये पैसा किसी को पता नहीं. पुलवामा पर जिस तरीके से आतंकवादी हमला हुआ, जिसका निंदा हम सभी लोगों ने किया और जिसके खिलाफ पूरा देश एकजुट होकर लड़ रही थी, वहाँ पे जो शहीद हुए हमारे सैनिक, उनको, उनके परिवारों को ये रिलीफ दिलवाने एक फंड तैयार हुआ था, एक इसी तरीके की प्राइवेट ट्रस्ट, भारत के वीर के नाम थे। उसके लिए पैसे जो इकट्ठा हुए, कितना खर्च हुआ, कितना नहीं, क्या है हिसाब किताब, पता नहीं। तो आज इस तरीके के फंड में इतना पैसा जमा कर क्या करोगे आप? और ये पैंडेमिक जब चल रही थी, इस पैंडेमिक के समय आप जो है तकरीबन 70,000 करोड़ रुपए कर्जे जो लेकर देश से भाग गए, जो प्रधानमंत्री के मित्र हैं, उनके कर्जे जो है आपने उनको राइट ऑफ कर दिया। आप कहते हैं कि राइट ऑफ करने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि माफ़ी कर दिया। अरे जो राइट ऑफ कर दिया उनमें से आज तक पार्लियामेंट के अंदर सरकार को खुद मानना पड़ा, इसी सरकार को, कि राइट ऑफ करने का मतलब है वो जो कर्जे है उसमें से कुछ वापस नहीं आना है। ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 20% से भी कम कर्जा आज तक जो राइट ऑफ हुए हैं लोन्स, उसका जो है वापस ले पाई सरकार। So there's also this crony capitalism in the loot, which is essentially the profit maximization principle. During this period of the COVID, during this period of the pandemic, 10 richest billionaires in the world have added $308 billion to their wealth during this period. Since the lockdown began, our biggest corporate company, Reliance, has registered a profit of 17.7%. And yet the Reliance is today retrenching jobs. Yet there are wage cuts that are taking place all across the board. People are losing their jobs, wage cuts, and we've seen our migrant workers, we've seen the plight of it, our brothers and sisters. I'm very happy, and I'd like to salute your SFI that wherever you are, you have been doing very good work in trying to provide both food and shelter to many of such people who have become homeless, who are hungry, and this sort of an activity, many other our sister organizations have also been doing it, and which is very good. But the relief that people are getting is more through such activities organized by the SFI, by the trade unions, by the youth organizations, by the Kisan Sabhas, but not from the governments. You can bring back our Indians stranded correctly, stranded in many countries abroad through organizing special planes. But you cannot organize special trains to allow our migrant workers to go back to their homes, because there is no other place where they have a shelter. There is nobody else who is feeding them. So in that situation, today it is essential that you all join. Because yes, the students' community is a multi-class community. You are not a class organization. But you are the militant voice and expression of a generation that is going to take over the reins of this country and this world. But remember, student movements only always succeed in advancing the cause of a social change only when they are linked up with the basic classes who are involved in changing this society into an exploitation-free society, which is the significance of solidarity on the May Day. So you'll have to join hands with these other exploited sections, particularly the working class under its leadership, in order to move towards this social change. We had many examples in world history, in our own history, where students' movement by themselves, though with very noble intentions of wanting a change for the better, have not been able to achieve such a change because of not being able to forge these links with the working class, with the peasantry, with the basic exploited classes. You had the 1968 great movement that started in the Sorbonne University in France, that erupted like a volcano all over the world. And student power became the sort of a slogan that can change the world and create a radically new order. But then what happened? You had very, very big student movements even in India. You had the Navnirman movement in Gujarat. You had the anti-corruption movement, and finally the JP movement, because of which in Bihar, because of which the emergency came, and then the emergency we all together, my generation, we all together defeated. And then you have now a situation of a worse undeclared emergency. So therefore, in this situation, you will all have to join hands today in demanding from this government of ours. There is no shortage of funds in India. The financial package you have announced is a minuscule, less than 1% of our GDP. Many countries are giving financial packages that go up to 10-20% of their GDPs. You expand this, give this money to the people, you transfer to every non-income tax paying person 7,500 rupees a month for the next 3 months. You have today's 7.7 million and 7.7 million, oh no, 7.7 crore, 77 million, 7.7 crore of tons of food grains that are rotting in our central godowns. Release them, send them to the states which are on the battlefront fighting against the COVID, and so that people don't die out of hunger or malnutrition. We cannot afford to have a situation where there are more non-COVID deaths than there are COVID deaths in our country. Already many with very, very serious illnesses, cancer patients, diabetes, our children who need to be inoculated, 3 lakhs and more have missed their inoculation shots. Pregnant mothers who are delivering the future of our country, they are not getting their vaccination shots, which are essential for the child that is going to be born. Now this sort of a situation cannot happen. Our doctors, our nurses, our health workers, they do not have protective equipment, and they are falling prey to this virus. If they start falling prey, then who will treat you and me when that situation, if at all, I hope it doesn't, but if it arises, then who will treat the common people? Give them this protective equipment. We are testing today around 60 per million people. 60 per million, that is one of the lowest in the world. And this testing is also, Supreme Court earlier said the testing will have to be free, but instead they've again gone back on that. You have to pay for testing in private facilities, 4,500 rupees, plus the GST, plus the taxes, comes to about 6,000 rupees. Even our neighboring Bangladesh is testing free for everybody, rich or poor. So this we'll have to do, increase our testing. A lockdown period is to have been utilized for identifying the intensity of those areas where the intensity of this spread is growing. यानी इस लॉकडाउन के दरमियान हमें ये कोशिश करनी चाहिए थी वैज्ञानिक आधार से कि किस जगह पर ये फैल रहा है बीमारी, महामारी, और उन जगहों को आइसोलेट करके वहाँ पर जो कदम उठाने चाहिए वो उठाते हुए, हमारे डॉक्टर, नर्सों को और हेल्थ कर्मियों को, उनको अपनी प्रोटेक्शन के लिए जो भी चाहिए वो ज़रूरतें पूरा करते हुए, आपको इस लॉकडाउन के समय को इस्तेमाल करके उस तरीके से धीरे जहाँ पर ये नहीं फैल रहा है उन इलाकों से शुरू करके वापसी एक नॉर्मलसी की ओर हमें बढ़ने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए। लेकिन उस तरीके का काम तो हुआ नहीं। अब 3 तारीख को जो घोषणा आएगा प्रधानमंत्री से, तभी पता चलेगा क्या होने वाला है। अब जो भी नियम देते हैं हर दिन बदलते रहते हैं। कल ये घोषणा हुआ था कि बसों के अलावा हमारे माइग्रेंट लेबर को वापस जाने के लिए ट्रेन की शुरुआत नहीं होगी। आज फिर से वो घोषणा आया कि नई ट्रेन शुरुआत करेंगे। अब रेलवेज़ का आज एक मैसेज आता है कि 30,000 कोच हमारे तैयार हैं। अरे क्या है भाई, आपका निर्णय क्या है वो तो स्पष्ट रूप से एक बार तय करके बताइए ना। यही अपेक्षा करते हैं सरकार से। ये नहीं कि सुबह एक और शाम को दूसरा। वही जो नोटबंदी के समय हुई थी, 4 घंटे का समय दिया और अगले 1 महीने तक हर दिन नियम बदलते रहे। अरे इस महामारी से हमें बचना है। यहाँ पर तो आप थोड़ी जिम्मेदारी के साथ आप जो है बताइए, काम करिएगा। अब जो भी है, अब 3 तारीख के बाद पता चलेगा क्या होने वाला है क्या नहीं। लेकिन आज के दिन ये अनिवार्य है कि इस लॉकडाउन से बाहर निकलने के लिए एक वैज्ञानिक आधार पर हम एक प्लान बनाएं, जिस तरीके से केरल ने बनाया। केरल की सरकार ने क्या की, जिस तरीके से आपके अपने ट्रैफिक लाइट होते हैं लाल पीला हरा, उस तरीके से 3 जोनों में बांटा उनके राज्यों को। यानी लाल वो जोन है जहां पर अभी भी ये बढ़ रहा है या बढ़ने की संभावना है। हरा वो है जोन जहां पर पिछले 28 दिनों में कोई भी एक नया केस उभर के नहीं आया सामने। पीले वो हैं जहां पर पिछले 14 दिन कोई केस आया नहीं, लेकिन अगला 14 दिन अगर कोई केस आ भी सकता है तो इसलिए वहां पर उतना ज़्यादा रिलैक्सेशन नहीं हो सकती। तो ऐसे ही इन परिस्थितियों में एक वैज्ञानिक आधार पर तय किया गया कहाँ पर नॉर्मल से शुरू करने की शुरुआत करें और किस तरीके से धीरे आइसोलेट करके उन जगहों को जहाँ पे फैल रही है, और जिनके पास नए नए केस आए हैं उनके सब जितने भी उनके कॉन्टैक्ट्स हुए हैं उन सब को ले जाकर उनको टेस्ट करके उनको होम क्वारंटीन में रखे। उस तरीके के वैज्ञानिक तरीके से आप सिस्टमैटिकली काम नहीं करेंगे, इस महामारी से हम बचना और जीतना जो है कठिन होगा। लेकिन उस तरीके की तैयारी कहाँ है यहाँ पे देश भर में, और वो देश भर में वो काम अगर नहीं होगा तो आगे हम नहीं बढ़ पाएंगे। तो इसलिए आज लोगों की नौकरियों की रक्षा करनी है। प्रधानमंत्री ऐलान कर दी किसी की छटनी नहीं होगी 3 महीने, लेकिन हो रही है। लाखों की तादाद में लोगों की छटनी। लॉकडाउन के बाद देश के अंदर बेरोजगारों की संख्या 14 करोड़ बढ़ी है। 14 करोड़। आज ये आंकड़े ये सेंटर फॉर मॉनिटरिंग इंडियन इकोनॉमी ने बताया कि तकरीब 40% आपका वर्कफोर्स जो है बेरोजगार है, और जो अभी तक नौकरी नहीं गई उनके तनख्वाहें काटी जा रही है, कहीं पर 1/3, कहीं पर आधा। अरे इन लोगों को बचाना है तो सरकार को गारंटी देना होगा ना, उनके एम्प्लॉयर को, उन मालिकों को, कि भाई इनकी नौकरी नहीं हटाओगे, आपकी आर्थिक जो भी आपको ये गारंटी है वो गारंटी सरकार देगी। ऐसे मुल्क है पूरे दुनिया में जिन्होंने इस तरीके की गारंटी दी। 80% वेज बिल जो होता है किसी एम्प्लॉयर का, 80% उस वेज बिल का गारंटी कई सारे देशों ने दिया। अपने देश के अंदर, जैसे मैं पहले ही कह रहा था, साधन की कमी नहीं है, और ये लूटमार बचा सकते हैं, या इसको वो खुद स्वयं बंद करें सरकार ही, तो देश के अंदर कोई साधन की कमी नहीं। और इस साधन की सभी बड़े बड़े अर्थशास्त्र, नोबेल पुरस्कार जिसको मिली है, डॉक्टर प्रोफेसर अमर्त्य सेन, अभिजीत बनर्जी, आपके रघुराम राजन, इन सभी ने ये कहा कि भाई आज के दिन अगर आप रुपए छाप कर भी रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया ये काम तो लोगों की जान बचाने के लिए, इस महामारी से लड़ने के लिए वो अगर तैयार होंगे तो उसके अंदर भी कोई डेंजर नहीं है, तो क्यों नहीं कर रहा सरकार? लेकिन अपनी एजेंडे को तो लागू करते जा रही है। सांप्रदायिक ध्रुवीकरण, तानाशाही की रुझान, जो विरोध में उतरे, ये आपके CAA, NPR, NRC के विरोध में उन लोगों को गिरफ्तार किया जा रहा है। सरकार के खिलाफ कोई भी आवाज़ उठाएगा, कोई भी जर्नलिस्ट आवाज़ उठाएगा, उसके ऊपर कार्रवाई और उसकी गिरफ्तारी। तो इस और लूट, अगर ये सब चलता रहेगा तो कैसे बच पाएगी? और ये आपके ऊपर, छात्रों के ऊपर बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है। ये चेतना आपको ना सिर्फ छात्रों तक ले जानी है, छात्रों से ले तक समाज के अंदर ये ले जाना ज़रूरी है। आपके परिवारों में, आपके आने वाले दिनों में भी ये दिक्कत कई सारी होंगी आपके शिक्षा के लिए। आज ये कहते हैं डिजिटल डिवाइड ले आ रहे हैं कि पूरा का पूरा टीचिंग, एग्जामिनेशन, सब कुछ जो है डिजिटल मोड से होगा। अब डिजिटल मोड से कहाँ तक आप पहुंच पाएंगे, कितने लोगों तक पहुंच पाएंगे, और उसके साथ चलते हुए वर्गीय बंटवारा फिर से होगा। जिसके पास साधन है, जिन परिवारों के पास क्षमता है उनके बच्चों के लिए ये सब सुविधाएं दिलवा सके, उनके लिए ये फ़ायदेमंद होगा। जिनके पास नहीं है वो धीरे धीरे से शिक्षा व्यवस्था से मिटी जाएंगे। ऑलरेडी ये हो रहा है, ये व्यापारीकरण जो हुआ था शिक्षा का, ये जो हो रहा अभी भी, और इस व्यापारीकरण और इस निजीकरण शिक्षा का जो हो रहा है, तो आज उसके चलते हुए ऑलरेडी कई सारे लोग जिनको शिक्षा में आना चाहिए था वो नहीं आ पा रहे। हमारी एसएफआई की पूरी उद्देश्य जिस समय से हम रहे तब से लेकर आज तक ये है कि यूनिवर्सल कंपलसरी एजुकेशन होनी चाहिए आपको हायर सेकेंडरी के लेवल तक, कम से कम 14 साल तक आपको जो है ये 14 साल की उम्र तक आपको जो है ये कंपलसरी एजुकेशन होनी चाहिए। और उसके बाद ये एजुकेशन जो है वो एक सरकारी जिम्मेदारी होनी चाहिए। आज क्या देखते हैं, इस महामारी कहाँ पर इसकी बचाव हो रही है, कहाँ पर इससे डट कर लड़ सक रहे हैं? उन देशों में, उन मुल्कों में जहाँ पर एक यूनिवर्सल हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम है जो सरकार की जिम्मेदारी, और ख़ास तौर पे समाजवादी देश। इतने बड़े शिकार हुई है चीन इस महामारी के, लेकिन वहाँ पर अब नॉर्मल सी रिस्टोर हो रहा है। वही वुहान, वही जगह को तकरीबन 2 महीने की लॉकआउट में जो रही वो धीरे धीरे से अब खुल रही है। लाखों की तादाद में लोग रेलगाड़ियों में बैठकर सफ़र कर रहे हैं, अपने अपने कामकाज पर चल रहे हैं। बगल में वियतनाम, इतनी लंबी सरहद है चीन के साथ, लेकिन एक भी कोविड का मौत नहीं हुआ वियतनाम के अंदर आज तक। वहाँ पे है क्यूबा, जहाँ के डॉक्टर और जाके दवाइयाँ आज पूरा दुनिया मांग रही है इस कोविड की महामारी से बचने के लिए। कोरिया या अपने देश में केरला, तो जहाँ पर भी यूनिवर्सल हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम हुआ वहाँ पर इससे हम बच पा रहे हैं। तो आपका भी, एसएफआई का भी यही होना चाहिए कि एक हेल्थ के ऊपर कम से कम केंद्र सरकार अपने जीडीपी से 3% कम से कम, अब 1% से कम है केंद्र सरकार का खर्च, कम से कम 3% तक बढ़ाए, उचित होगा 5 तक जाए। और शिक्षा के लिए केंद्र सरकार कम से कम 6% जीडीपी का खर्च करे, जो मांग एसएफआई की रही है सदियों से, आज तक ये नहीं हो पाया। तो इन सभी सवालों को ले आकर आज के इस आपकी पीढ़ी एसएफआई की, उसके ऊपर एक बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी, हर समय ये जिम्मेदारी है एसएफआई के सामने, सबसे बड़े जनवादी छात्रों के संगठन होने के नाते, जिसके उद्देश्य में ही, जिनके झंडे पे ही समाजवाद का नाम लिखा हुआ है कि ऐसी व्यवस्था वो चाहते हैं जहाँ पर बिना शोषण के एक इंसान दूसरे इंसान पे शोषण ना करे, उस तरीके की व्यवस्था को ले आने के लिए एसएफआई का पूरा कोशिश रहा। आज के दिन वो तो है ही वो मकसद अपना, लेकिन आज इस महामारी के संदर्भ में इस काम को आगे ले जाना है, तो स्पष्ट रूप से हमें महामारी से बचना भी है, हमारे भाई बहनों को, हमारे देशवासियों को बचाना है, और उसके साथ ही साथ वो बचने के लिए आगे वो शिकार ना हो, उनकी ज़िंदगियों को बेहतर बनाने के लिए जो भी ज़रूरत है वो करना है। यानी बेरोज़गारी को ख़त्म करनी है, देश के अंदर अशिक्षितता को ख़त्म करना है, और साथ ही साथ सबको रोज़गार की जो मांग, सबको शिक्षा, सबको रोज़गार, ये नारा जो है, ये नारा एसएफआई के ज़माने में, हमारे ज़माने से बनी थी। सबको शिक्षा, सबको काम, वरना होगी नींद हराम। ये हम तब से ये नारा लगाते हुए आ रहे थे। आज उसकी ज़रूरत और ज़्यादा महसूस है। सो शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में ये जो डिजिटल डिवाइड जो लाने की कोशिश हो रही है, उसके अलावा सरकार के ऊपर दबाव डालना कि शिक्षा के लिए खर्चा ज़्यादा करे, स्वास्थ्य के लिए जो खर्चा करनी है, और इसके साथ जोड़ते हुए जनता के बीच में रहना, हम समझते हैं कि एसएफआई का सबसे बड़ा जिम्मेदारी। और जो काम पहले मैं आपकी सलामी कर रहा था, कि आप जो कर रहे हैं रिलीफ पहुंचाने में, लोगों को राहत दिलवाने में, जो भी आपने मदद की है उसको जारी रखिएगा और मजबूत करिएगा। और इस तरीके से काम को ले जाकर एसएफआई आज के दिन जो एकजुटता, जो अंतर्राष्ट्रीय एकजुटता है सर्वहारा के साथ, मजदूर वर्ग के साथ, और उस एकजुटता को आज और मजबूती के साथ आगे बढ़ाना है तो सब तबकों को मिलकर चलना होगा। नए हमले आ रहे हैं, ये मे डे का उपलब्धि है, 8 घंटे का काम का दिन, 8 घंटे का काम का दिन कई दशकों से लड़ते लड़ते, कई शताब्दियों से लड़ते लड़ते मजदूर वर्ग ने हासिल किया। ये किसी का दान नहीं है, ये हमारे शासक वर्गों का दान नहीं है, ये जीत कर संघर्षों के द्वारा ये हासिल की गई। आज उसके ऊपर हमला अपने ही देश के अंदर आज कहा जा रहा है, महामारी को इस्तेमाल करते हुए, कि 8 घंटे की जगह अब हर मजदूर को, जो जिसके पास अभी काम में है जो, वो हर मजदूर को 12 घंटे काम करने पड़े, यानी 1.5 गुना। यानी उतने मजदूर उनकी चटनी होगी और बाकी लोग जो है 1.5 गुना काम करके जो चटनी हो गया उसका मुनाफा तो मालिक बना देगा, लेकिन बाकी लोगों के लिए 12 घंटे काम करनी होगी दिन में। यानी सदियों से लड़ते लड़ते ये जो अधिकार हासिल की मजदूर वर्ग ने, इस अधिकार के ऊपर आज इस महामारी को बहाना बनाते हुए ये हमले हो रहे हैं। ये होंगे, अमीर और अमीर हो रहा है, गरीब और गरीब हो रहा है। जैसे मैं बता रहा था, दुनिया के अंदर 10 सबसे अमीर जो खरबपति है, उनके हाथों में, उनकी संपत्ति में $308 बिलियन जो है उनकी संपत्ति बढ़ी इस पैंडेमिक। अपने ही देश में रिलायंस का उदाहरण दे रहा था मैं, लेकिन वहाँ पर भी चटनी हो रही है। तो आइए हम सब मिलकर, और एसएफआई की, जैसे मैं पहले भी कह रहा था, भविष्य हो आप, देश का भविष्य आप हो, और देश कैसा होगा भविष्य में तय करने वाले भी आप। तो ये जिम्मेदारी आपको पूरा करनी होगी। तो मेरी क्रांतिकारी सलाम करते हुए मैं फिर से आप सबको आज के दिन मे डे की एक लाल सलामी आप सबको दे रहा हूँ। कई कुछ सवाल आए हैं, उन सवालों की जवाब देने की कोशिश करेंगे, लेकिन मेरे ख्याल से जो बातचीत मैं कर रहा था आप सबसे, उनमें ही कई सारे ऐसे सवाल आए थे जिसका हमने जवाब दिया। लेकिन एक सवाल ये है कि माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स के बारे में क्या किया जाना चाहिए। वो तो मैं बताया आपको, स्पेशल ट्रेन्स ऑर्गेनाइज करिए, उनको भेजिए, 7,500 रुपये पर महीना और फ्री राशन बांटना, ना सिर्फ माइग्रेंट वर्कर, जो भी भूखा है देश में उनको, और जिनकी नौकरियों के ऊपर जो चटनी जो हो रही है उसके ऊपर अंकुश लगना चाहिए, सरकार लेना चाहिए इसकी जिम्मेदारी। कह रहे थे कि कोविड इस महामारी के बाद एक निश्चित रूप से एक आर्थिक मंदी आएगी, और वहाँ पर हमारे मजदूर वर्ग की हिफाजत कैसे कर सके। देखिए, कोविड से पहले ही एक आर्थिक मंदी की परिस्थिति पैदा हो चुकी थी देश में। अब जो है इस आर्थिक परिस्थिति को भी कोविड ही दोष बताएंगे हमारे शासक वर्ग, कि ये भी कोविड की वजह से ही हुआ। अगर कोविड ना भी आता, एक आर्थिक मंदी पे हम पहुंच चुके थे, और इस आर्थिक मंदी के चलते हुए कई सारे लोगों की नौकरियों की छटनी हुई, कई सारी जगह पर तनख्वाहें काटी गई है। अब वो ट्रेंड जो है और मजबूत हुआ है। तो आने वाले दिनों में द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द वर्कर्स कैन ओनली बी सेफगार्डेड थ्रू मिलिटेंट स्ट्रगल्स एंड इन प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ द हार्ड वन राइट्स. That will have to be done, but if you have a government like the one we have now, which is bent upon displaying with a vengeance its anti-working class and anti-poor approach, then that has to be fought. Such governments have to be fought and removed, because that is the only way in which we can resist this assault on the livelihood of the working people. I have informal sector workers, they are much more vulnerable. The question on what will happen to the informal sector workers, they are much, much more vulnerable already, even before this pandemic. What have the ruling classes done, and what was part of this imperialist globalization and all that was happening? Your organized worker, the proportion of the organized worker has been continuously been shrinking globally and in India very dramatically. Only about 6% of the Indian workforce is today organized labor. Nearly 94% or more are unorganized labor who do not have the rights which are being eroded today. They do not have the rights that organized labor has. They are the informal labor, casual labor, contract labor, and daily labor. Now they eke out their livelihood day by day. Now with this COVID pandemic, even those possibilities have lost. So it's a very, very grave situation. It's a life and death struggle. Apart from this virus, apart from these dangers of the virus, it's a life and death question for these sections. They have to be protected, and that can only happen when we all come together jointly in an organized manner, organize this resistance. What is the future of the international solidarity of the working class movement? Can the International Labour Organization formed 100 years ago, what can the Indian left movement play a role? You see, the international workers' solidarity movement today is taking place in different forms. So it can never in history can you replicate anything. You can achieve that objective, but the manner in which that will be done will be different, naturally, as the history moved on, and it should be. And if that has to be defined, Indian left will always have a very important role to play. Remember, all these laws, all these things have all been because of the left's pressure, inside Parliament, outside Parliament, and it's basically through the militant struggles of the working class that you achieved all these rights. That's why I said it's not the charity of the bourgeoisie. It is the gains squeezed out of the bourgeoisie by the strength of the militant working class movement. And it is that strength that will have to be strengthened, and that will be the role of the left. With the socialization of costs and risks and privatization of profit due to an unequal globalized order, do you think time has come for building up of an intra-global South workers' movement? Yes. I mean, not only the time has come, time was always there for international solidarity, as I said. But yes, the workers of the South, they have more common problems amongst themselves. There is a need for joint solidarity actions and for jointly working out strategies on how to carry this movement forward. And yes, this sort of, global South labor movements, the greater solidarity and interactions and meetings with them, that will have to take on a further shape. There's a question that's coming on the screen. The left itself is not united, so how will you take on the struggle? You see, the left is not united as a single party. But all the left parties are united on all these issues that I mentioned before you, and we are all unitedly in struggle. So therefore, don't mistake unity to be coming under one party or one name. It is unity in action that is important. It is unity in struggles that is important, and that is happening. And there's here, May Day brings back a host of memories of historic struggles, indomitable resilience, for a generation that has grown up witnessing systematic alienation of labor and unhindered expansion of capital. How can the enduring relevance of May Day be made intelligible to them? Well, life teaches them, and through the life experience, all these that you are talking about, this heritage, these experiences, etc., will all reach them, and it's our job to take it to them also. That's why, you see, again, as I said earlier, May Day has a very big history, as I said. It has a lot of memories associated with it. It has a huge number of struggles that are associated with it, right from the Chicago martyrs. And all these struggles, all of them have put together, have also achieved something that changed the face of the world in the 20th century. It's a different matter. Why that could not sustain, or what happened, why was the reversal to the Soviet Union? I mean, all that we've gone through, and that is a separate thing. If an occasion comes, I'm sure I'd love to again interact with you on that. But the point is, the working class has shown, demonstrated in human history, that it is capable of not only changing the course of history, but it is capable of achieving the heights that took 300 years for capitalism to achieve. It could achieve in 3 decades and 30 years. It is the epic saga of human endeavor, the building of socialism. That was shown. That's possible. But again, as I said, history doesn't repeat itself. Apart from what Marx had said, that Hegel once commented, that it repeats itself, first as a tragedy and then as a farce. That, you see, if it does, it'll be a tragedy. That's a different point, or a farce. But the point is that historical process will have to be taken forward. It's not by living on older memories, but it has to be taken forward. It has to be taken forward. Well, just now some news is filtering in that the national lockdown has been extended by another 2 weeks. I don't know if it's confirmed. But if that is the case, then we must all be prepared for further pressures that has to be put in order to solve the problems before the people, particularly the working people, and particularly the people who have nothing to live upon and nothing to eat. Now, these are things that have to be very urgently, very, very urgently addressed. And what all that we have been discussing now, this has to be further strengthened, and this has to be further communicated, and further pressure should be put to ensure that no one dies out of hunger and nobody dies of not having a shelter and not having any money in their hands. That's why immediate cash transfers, immediate distribution of food grains, these are essential. This needs to be ensured, and that pressure should be strengthened. That, I think, is the task for all of us, and particularly the younger generation like the SFI. I think that's it. There are no other questions coming. So I've been here with you for nearly an hour, and now I think here again the scrolls are coming that lockdown is extended till 17th of May. So therefore, these demands that we have raised become all the more important and all the more relevant. And that is why now we will have to together increase this pressure on the government to ensure that this cash transfers and free food distribution takes place, protection of jobs and protection of salaries takes place, and our economy, which is already in doldrums, measures to be taken in order to ensure that people's livelihoods and people's life is not further destroyed. Thanks for joining us. We'll all be together in future struggles, future movements, and future solidarity. Revolutionary greetings and a red salute to all of you once again.